Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Divine Intervention. I am your host, Earlicia Young. I pray that your week thus far has been blessed, and I pray that on this weekend you are relaxing and just enjoying yourself. First and foremost, I want to send my heartfelt condolences and prayers to anyone who may be bereaving in this hour. I want you to know that Beyond the Four Walls and Divine Intervention love you, and from afar are always standing with you and always want to be an encouragement to you. On today, we're just going to talk about a few different things, no specific topic this month, just basically sharing some of my personal experiences. And I must tell you that anytime that you decide that you're going to step out and do anything that's going to be effective or impact anything in a positive way, you must know that there are always going to be challenges and oppositions, and those never go away. Because in this life, it's always something going on, whether it's with yourself, whether it's with your family, you know, your children, whether it's on your job, whatever it is, your finances. Something is always apt to come up, but it's always the mindset whenever the situation comes your way, how you go through it. You can do your best to stay focused. Even when you don't focus, you can always get back on track. I know that this past week it has been very, very challenging for me for a number of reasons, but I just refuse to lose my faith and give up, because I realize that some things in this life you just cannot do anything about. You just basically, just like a car ride, you have to buckle up your seatbelt and just ride the tide and just trust God for your safety while you're going through the adventure, while you're going on the ride. Today I really, really wanted to just point out how important it is to identify what's a blessing and also to be able to identify what is counterfeit. I can tell you this, on either side, the way to really know what is to just truly consult God about whatever it is. I know when we want things so bad, sometimes we just jump into it, but at the end of the day, we get better results if we just slow down, take time, and consult our Creator, who knows our tomorrow, who is all, who's in all, and who knows all. I know with me, I am being very, very careful as to how I handle things in this season of my life. I know in prior seasons, I've had blessings come my way, but because of past hurts and different things that I just needed to deal with within myself, I rejected those things. And as I look back, I realize now that some of those things may have been blessings. But the good thing about, even when you miss the mark, the situations can all work together for good. And the most important thing is, when you grow through anything in this life, just remember to take something from it. Learn from it. It's so easy to grow through a thing and just hold on to it. I know most times we're always our worst critics. I know for me, when I miss the mark, I don't need anybody else to beat me down. I do it to myself, because I know at the end of the day where I come from. I come from some awesome upbringing, and anything that came up along the way that I made a choice to either do right or wrong, I had to own it. It was me, because I knew better. Because I was taught as a little girl, you know, don't do this, don't do that. This is how you behave. This is how you... So oftentimes we make choices because we just want to do what we want to do. And our choices affect the things that are meant to be a blessing in our life. Oftentimes, before a blessing, there comes a counterfeit. And where does the counterfeit come from? Well, we have to understand that there are two plans for our life. There's a plan that leads to worldly things, and there's a plan that leads to spiritual things. And there's always a war going on between the two. So the things of this world always want to try to overpower the things of the spirit. So here comes the counterfeit that looks like the real thing, but it's not the real thing. But I do know that anytime that you deal with a counterfeit, it prepares you for what's real. Because I could assure you that something counterfeit, it lets you down. It causes you hurt. It gives you something to take over into your blessing that'll make you appreciate your blessing just a little bit more. I know some of us have probably had situations, whether it be in our family, whether it be in relationships, whether with the opposite sex, or whether it be with friends, or however you want to put it, where we mishandled it and did not get the results that we desired. But even in the midst of all of that, it's the mindset when you deal with those things. We have to stop looking so shallow. A lot of times we look at things just on the surface and we don't really dig deep. I've learned that most times when things come in our midst, they're either things that we have done, they're things that if we don't change, we're going to be doing, or they're just things that get put in front of us that teach us how not to behave in that way. So anything that you deal with in this life, it can work out to be good for you. There are many people who have made mistakes and been places in their life, but the moment came when they made the choice to do different, when they made the choice to trust their process. We all have that moment when we realize, you know what, something is different. But the most important thing about whatever it is not staying stuck in whatever it is. We all have some struggle, some kind of way in our life. We've all rejected a blessing. We've all been tricked by something counterfeit. We've all been through that. And if you've not gone through it already, keep living. You will eventually encounter either one of those things. Trust your process. We all have different paths that we're going to take in this life, but guess what? They all lead back to the same place. Sometimes I just get so confused as to why we have so many different I'll talk about the spiritual area. How many different religions we have, as if there is more than one God. I know that at the end of the day, we all believe whatever it is that we believe. But truth be told, the core of all of those things is love. And love seems to be what's lacking in this dispensation of time. Even in the midst of what we would consider a distraction, we still have the opportunity to demonstrate love. Because if we truly seek within ourselves and we can identify with whatever it is that got us off course, we can surely get back on track. And it's all about just paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to people, how they move. You'll learn a lot just paying attention. And when distractions come, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, that came up, so I know what that is, and you just keep it moving. Don't let things distract you. If it's a blessing, good. If it's a counterfeit, good. Don't let it distract you. Keep going. There are things that are going to come up. Things that really hurt. Things that you have absolutely no control over. Things just come out of nowhere. How many of you know about a car? When a car's driving down a road and it gets sideswiped. That's how the things of this life can be. You're going along and it seems like everything is okay, and then just wham, something will come up to throw you off course. And it's in that moment that you begin to realize that you got just a little bit off course. Because oftentimes, and I paused for a minute because I wanted to find the right word. When something sideswipes you, whether you're paying attention or not, you can't control it. But if you're not careful, that thing that's trying to sideswipe you or has sideswiped you, it will become a distraction and it could knock you off of whatever it is that you're trying to do. Whether it be in school, whether it be a goal that you set, whether it's something in your business, whether it's a book you've written, you just have to be mindful because things just creep in. Things that appear to be blessings can actually be counterfeit. How do you tell the difference between the two? You have to seek. You can't be in a hurry, and you just have to just know, and basically just look back over your life and learn from yourself and how you move and some of the mistakes that you have made. And moving forward, just do a little different. Anything that you deal with in this life could catapult you forward in whatever season you're in. I'm in my season of trusting. Because when I tell you, I feel like I'm in the midst of a tsunami right now. But guess what? I refuse to quit. So whether it's a blessing or a counterfeit, my focus remains on one thing, and that's trusting my process and knowing that no matter what comes my way, that God has a greater plan for my life. And just remembering that He declared in His word that He will always be with me no matter what. He would always be with me. He never promised us in this life that things wouldn't come up. Some things that come up just absolutely out of our control. They have nothing to do with us. But it's in those moments that we grow, that we mature, that we become better. It's in those moments, especially when people are mistreating you and people are lying on you and talking about you, when you're able to still have joy, when you're able to still maintain your peace, when you're able to still be humble, when you're able to still be long-suffering, when you're able to just stand your ground and just still be you in the midst of all of the things that are going on around you, that speaks volume. We are all, again, dealing with something. That's why it's so hard to believe that we can be so judgmental towards each other. I've been that judgmental person, so I'm not exempting myself. But no matter what area you're struggle is struggle. And if you're not struggling now, it's going to come a time where you will struggle. And if there's someone that's close to you who is struggling, you have to be there for them just like you want somebody to be there for you. And I can tell you, oftentimes it feels like we are there for everybody else, but nobody has us. I know a lot of times people don't know how to help you when you're in a situation. You hear all the time, just pray, just pray, just pray. I get it. Praying is effective. Prayer is the answer. But behind the prayer, showing actions of love, it helps too. It offers encouragement to a person when not only are you praying for them through their process, but also knowing that you took the time out to pick up the phone and call or send a text or stop by and just say, you know what, I'm here for you. I was thinking about you. Love is an action word. And a lot of us say it, but we don't act upon it. And that too that conditional love. I can tell you one way to identify whether something is beneficial to you. If it only comes based with conditions, then it's not of God. Blessings are from God. Anything that's counterfeit is from this world. There is nothing constant in this world. There's nothing constant. You cannot put your faith and your confidence in your earthly things. You can't even put faith and confidence in yourself. You have to have confidence in whatever that is that you believe. Me, myself, personally, I believe that my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, He died for me. And I feel so privileged to know that someone loved me so much that they were willing to give their life up for me. And I know that that love is still here for me. I may not physically be able to see it, but I can feel it. I know that it's there. I know that that feeling that I know is there has been more beneficial to me than any human being in this life. Some people might call it crazy, but I know the things that I have grown through in my life. I know the places that I could have been and the situations that I could have succumbed to, but it was nobody but God who redirected me, or who stayed His hand and did not let those things overtake me. Even when you think that something is for you, sometimes there are warning signs. We always have this older person that I miss that may say to us, I wouldn't do that if I was you. I don't think that's a good idea. But we go ahead and we do it anyway. And we wind up in a situation when all we had to do was identify with what was mentioned to us. Wisdom is always speaking. It clearly says that wisdom is one of the benefits of migrating successfully through this life. You get wisdom, you get knowledge, you get understanding of all things. Understand your process. How do you understand your process? You seek, you ask. It says, seek ye first His kingdom and all of His righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. So if you want to know something, seek it. Then it also goes and says that he who lacks wisdom asks. So there's no reason that we should miss the mark if we seek the answer to things before we go into them. That's the way to know whether something is a blessing or a counterfeit. And guess what? Blessings and counterfeit, they come in the church too. You have some people who will pretend like they're for you. They'll get all up in your face. They'll be all in your business, doing this, doing that, but they're just a big of a devil as somebody that's out there in the world. Beware of a blessing and beware of what's a counterfeit. And the way that you do that again is to seek, is to ask for direction. It's sad that the church is not distorted by the world. The church is distorting the church. The hearts and the minds of the people are so far away from God. It seems like everyone is concerned about themselves and their agenda and their rules and their regulations, that it's almost like God no longer matters. His love no longer matters. A person is more focused on making sure somebody's dressed in a certain manner rather than worried about the well-being of that individual. Understanding that if you think about a baby goes through a process. A baby drinks milk, and then there's a time they eat baby food, and then the things that they're able to digest, they grow. And eventually they'll be able to digest solid food. Well, it's the same thing with people. People digest things slow on different levels, and it's not up to us to try to force anything on anyone. Our job is to be an example and demonstrate God's love by just being lights, by letting them see our love, our joy, our peace, our hope. Let them see us being long suffering. Let them see us being patient. Let them see us being good. Let them see us be kind. Those are the things that are needed in this time. So are you a blessing or are you a counterfeit? You have to search within yourself to know that answer. Looking on the outside of a thing, you don't know, because the word clearly says that God only knows the heart of a person, of a man, of a human being. He knows our hearts. But we have to be careful, because whatever is in our heart, sometimes it'll come up out of our mouth and we'll be saying things that we should not say. One thing that I realize is the world is a beautiful place, but the world is filled with brokenness. And you have broken things breaking other things. And if you want to think about it from a human aspect, broken people break other people. So what do you have? Just a big old mess. What are you? Are you a blessing or are you a counterfeit? It's something really, really to think about. I know me. I'm always evaluating myself, because I don't want to just be doing anything, because I feel like, I know nothing is never a waste, but I feel like a lot of unnecessary time got put into things that, had I made better choices, I may be a little bit farther, but I count it all joy because I did learn from it, and I just keep it moving. But I do know that everything that I do moving forward, I try to be intentional. I try to be purposeful about it. I try not to just do things just to be doing it. I try to be impactful with everything that I do. And not only just in the world, but we have our children who look to us for different things. Our children are our first priority. Our children are our first obligation. If we can be that example in front of our children, then we find being an example in life easier. Every day we have to be humble and remain teachable, because every day you learn something new. But it's up to you how you apply those things to your life. Are you a blessing or are you a counterfeit? Have you ever rejected a blessing and accepted a counterfeit? Or have you ever accepted a counterfeit and rejected a blessing? It's just something to just make you think on today, that no matter what it is, trust your process. It'll all work together for your good if you just don't quit. Don't give up. Don't quit. This life is not fair. Things we cannot control, like, losing loved ones, sickness. Some of those things come upon us, come upon our family, and there's not anything that we can do about it but just be there. But just be a support to one another. And one of the most important things that I want to leave with you today is this. And this may be just a little bit off topic, but let us stop trying to control how other people feel. If someone comes to you and says that you did XYZ, don't take it as a negative thing. Accept it. Use that opportunity to communicate and grow from it. Because oftentimes people will come to us and say, this happened. And then you'll say, well, no, I didn't. I didn't do that. Well, yes, you did, because everybody's perception about things is different. So if you messed up, just say you're sorry and keep it moving. That would just save a whole lot of drama. It would really, really be helpful if we had people that would be more accountable in this time. Blessing or counterfeit. I pray that something I said today that not only encouraged you, but enlightened you, and also just made you just take inventory of where you are right now. What are you doing in this hour to be a benefit to someone else? Are you walking in selfishness? What is it? Where are you? It's very important to know where you are in this time. There is so much stuff going on that we truly, truly, truly need to be focused on ourselves and what we need to be doing in this time to have an impact on the life of somebody else, because there are some hurting people. Every time you turn on the news, someone's taking their life. Every time you turn on the news, somebody's taking the life of someone else. Where are you? If it's anger, if it's fear, if it's doubt, if you're depressed, whatever it is, know where you are so you can do whatever you need to do to walk through that season in your life. This life can be challenging, but this life can also be a blessing as well. And as a matter of fact, the greatest blessing is waking up in the morning and being able to embrace your new day. I love you all, and I hope that you'll be able to join me on next Saturday. This is the Divine Intervention, and I am your host, Earlicia Young.